Cool. Can't wait for that to get here. Son of a bitch. I'm worried about this video being too long anyway, so let's just jump right in. We're taking a look at the Ronin S today. Let's get to it. Alright, so let's start with what comes with the Ronin S. And while this may vary depending on what kit you get, I'm going to go off the kit that I bought, and I'll put links to that kit in the description. So along with the carrying case, you also get the stand, the battery, and the gimbal itself. You also get a camera plate and the lens support, as well as a USB Type-C cable for charging. I think you're also supposed to get a 24-watt USB power adapter. Mine did not come with that, so I'll be contacting DJI about it. Speaking of that, let's move on to power. Now, the Ronin S runs on a lithium-ion battery with a 12-hour battery life. I think we probably could have traded a little less battery life for a little smaller battery. I think that would have been fine. But in all honesty, most gadgets don't have great battery life, so I'm not going to complain about this too much. Now, like I said before, you also get the USB Type-C charging cable to be able to charge the gimbal, and that plugs in right here. Okay, so let's talk about how this thing is built. The Ronin S is a single-handed gimbal used for DSLRs and mirrorless cameras to be able to stabilize your image while you're shooting. And I'm loving this thing. It is very well built. I think it feels very sturdy when carrying it around. But I'm gonna be honest, I very rarely use this thing with one hand. More often than not, I have one hand up so I can run the joystick, and the other one is just helping me stabilize by holding onto the collapsed tripod legs. The weight of this thing with nothing on it is 4 pounds, and the load capacity is 7.94 pounds. So now we're gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna walk you guys through how to balance this. So to start off, we have the 3 different axes. And so we have the yaw or the pan, we have the roll, and then we have the pitch or the tilt. One of the best things about this gimbal, I think, is the fact that they took this roll motor and actually angled it down here so it's out of the way of the built-in screen of your camera. I think that's a fantastic idea. I don't know why more people aren't doing that, but this is great. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this thing balanced. So what we're gonna do is, first thing we gotta do is get the camera put on there, right? You know, that's surprise, surprise. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get this slid on there, and there's an arrow here that you can set on the camera plate. I'm gonna set it at about number 2. I'm gonna go ahead and push that lock in. There we go. And as you can see, nowhere near. You don't want to turn this on without the motors being balanced. That is really bad for the motors. You could harm them. So you don't want to do that. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start with the tilt axis. So let's go ahead, and what you're gonna want to do is you want to tilt it up, and then you want to find the point where it stays balanced there. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm actually going to take it like this. Let's try that. So when I let it go, nope, so still not there yet. I'll do about half. Nope. Okay, so it's still slightly going. There, right there. So that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and take that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and lock that down. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it so it faces straight out front. And if I do that, and it decides to tilt down or tilt back up, then we just gotta slide the camera plate depending on which way it's falling. But okay, so we're gonna move on now to the roll. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it about where we think it should be and figure out what side's too heavy. So that side's falling to that side, so I'm gonna go ahead and move this. Oh, let's go 1.5 there. It's not quite. Just go down to 1 then. That looks pretty good. Too far. Push it back through. That looks pretty good. Balances pretty well there. I'm gonna go ahead and lock that down. And then the last thing we wanna do is you wanna pick it up. So now we're gonna check the pan motor. So I'm gonna pick it up, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna point it off like that, off to the side. And now I'm gonna let it go, and if it stays, look at that, that just happened to work out that way. If it stays, oh, there it goes. See, it's shifted a little bit. So if I have it here, we'll try it again. And I let it go. stays in the same spot. So that means that that's probably pretty well balanced. So then we're pretty much ready to go. And then all you have to do is you turn this thing on, you go ahead and you double tap and hold the battery button down here on the bottom, and then you do the same thing with the power button up here on the base of the gimbal. So you go ahead and you push and hold, it should make a noise, just like that. Everything should kick on, just like that, and then you're good to go. All right, so let's just jump into the app real quick. This is gonna be fairly simple. We're not gonna dive too deep into this. If it's something you guys wanna see, I can make another dedicated video about it, but let's just jump into this real quick. So when you open up the Ronin app, you'll see the configuration, create, status, and about. And we're not really gonna talk about the about, just because that's more about the system itself, and we don't really need to talk about that today. Status, the only reason I really use this is to check my battery life, just because I don't have any of the other accessories that I would need to connect this through, so I just do check my battery life here. And then configuration and create. So configuration, I come in here every time I turn the gimbal on. I come into motor parameters so I can auto tune, and I go to settings so I can do my balance test and my system calibration. As far as the other two go, I really don't come into control settings anymore. Like I said, I pretty much have all three users set up how I want. As well as smooth track, like the same thing. I have them set up how I want them for each user preference. The create tab is where you can come to do panoramas, the time lapse, the track, which are really cool. But unfortunately, I don't have the accessories to be able to do those. For those, you'll need a camera control cable or the RSS IR cable for Canons. I don't have an RSS IR cable for my Canon because I'm running a 70D. I'm holding out that they end up making a camera control cable. That'd be fantastic. But the only reason I come in to create is to be able to do the virtual joystick. And the thing I love about this is I can change my motor speeds. Right now I have them all set to about 50, and then I can use the virtual joystick then to go ahead and move the gimbal around, which is fantastic. I love being able to use it that way. Okay, so this thing is super easy to use once you have it balanced. And two things that I always do right when I turn this thing on is I do an auto tune and I do a balance test. And so I'm going to show you guys. I know we briefly touched on it a bit ago, but I'm going to go ahead and open up the app here. It's going to then connect to my Ronin. It's going to find it, it's thinking here. But then once it does, we can go ahead and do the test. So I'm going to go ahead and go configuration. We're going to do settings, go over to more, and hit balance test. Now what it's going to do is it's going to cause the gimbal to move, and it's just going to test all the motors and make sure that you've balanced it right. So as you see there, we have excellent, good, and good. So that's fine for where we're at here for doing this test. But just so you know, you'll want to try and get excellent if you can on all three of those. You can do a system calibration while you're in here too. That's something that's really quick, and it'll pop up here saying that it's successful. Hopefully, in theory, it'll do that. Let's just wait. There it is. So calibration successful. And then the other thing I always do is an auto tune. Now, this will make a little bit of noise. I don't know if you can hear that or not. As far as I know, that's normal. And then it should complete here. Perfect, calibration complete. So we should be good to go as far as getting it set and ready to start using. The thing you can also do in the settings menu is do the motor pause, and that allows you to be able to manipulate the motors and move them using your hands without worrying about hurting the motors themselves. Now the Ronin S has 3 different user profiles that you can switch to. If you hit the M button, you can go ahead and switch to the different user profiles, which is awesome. You can go ahead and quickly get from one profile to the other. Another thing is if you hold down the M button, it allows you to shoot in sports mode. One thing I also love about this gimbal is this trigger. The trigger on this is awesome. I love the different things you can do with it. Like my favorite thing is if you, let's say you have your camera turned and okay, so it's there and you want it recentered and you don't want to go into the app, all you have to do is double tap that trigger and it automatically brings it back to center for you. You gotta be careful though, because if you do triple tap it, it'll turn it around into selfie mode, which is cool for some people. I'm not, whatever you want to do. but just double tap it and it'll get you back. Now, there are a bunch of accessories that you can get for the Ronin S, and I know I talked about a couple of them being the camera control cable and the RSS IR cable, but there's a bunch of other ones. You can get a phone holder to be able to hold your phone right on the gimbal itself, so that way you don't have to be able to pull your phone out of your pocket. You can just see it right there, adjust different motor settings, and it's right there ready to go. You can also get a focus wheel that you can mount right next to the joystick there. Like I said, I don't have it, but I've seen videos of people using it and it looks fantastic. All it allows you to do is you turn the wheel and it allows it to turn the focus ring on your lens. Okay, so now let's talk about price. At the time of recording this video, Amazon has the Ronin S for $559 for the kit that I got. Now you can get other kits with other accessories and stuff in it for upwards of $700, but I went with this one because it's cheaper and I basically get everything that I need to start, and I'll just slowly get the other accessories as I need them. Also, if you like the B-roll shots to this video, you should definitely go check out my buddy Kyle. I'll link his Instagram down below. It's Iowa's Photographer. He came out with me and shot all the B-roll shots for me while I was running around with the Ronin S. So if you're interested, you should definitely go check his stuff out. Alright guys, well I hope you guys found this video useful. If you got any value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Even consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you like this video and you want to see my previously recorded video, click that link on screen. You want to see my most recent video, click that link. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.